Welcome back everybody to BeamNG.drive, and today we're taking a look at the FPS Trapez Coral. So this is a mod. It's a mod of a car from Poland from 1989 to 1997. Not exactly sure what kind of car from Poland, maybe an FSO or something like that. But yeah, still, it's not a car that is exactly glamorous, but I do enjoy crap cars on this game. Crap cars in the sense that they aren't particularly quick or good looking. But the mod itself is fairly stable. I've put it through a fair old amount and it's survived quite a lot. So yeah, which I'm really impressed by. It has a 1.5 litre carbureted inline 4 engine, weighs 2,425 pounds. It's rear wheel drive, a hatchback, and has a 5-speed manual. So yeah, basically we're just going to take it around the suspension area, see how long it will last until it breaks, and then we'll roll it over, blow it up, and put it for a cinder block wall. So yeah, no performance figures on this unfortunately, but I doubt it's going to be all that quick. As you can see, it's hardly challenging in terms of top speed, but yeah, I do enjoy crap cars like this, to be honest, because they're just really fun to crash and drive around in, really. So yeah, and overall, like I said, this mod does hold up really rather nicely, and it's the kind of car I enjoy on this kind of game, because it's not a car you really care about, so you can just throw it around as much as you want. If it breaks, and you just reset it and go again. It's not a car you're going to ever fall in love with, really, outside of, you know, beating it up. And yeah, this does take a bit of a beating. There is some issues with it. The sounds in the tyres when you start braking the car more and more do get a bit annoying, but everything else seems to be okay. Damage the oil pan, so we're going to overheat at some point and lock up the engine, but hopefully not too soon. So yeah, taking a bit of damage. We lost one of the fog lights. It's not too much of an issue really, to be honest. So let's continue pounding this car, see if the old age suspension can take it, because it's a leaf spring at the back, as you can see. It's not particularly sophisticated, but that kind of suspension can take a fair old amount of a beating, so let's hope that's the case with this. Oh dear, rolled over. Can I come back on our feet? Yes, we are. See, it's got a self-righting mechanism and everything. It's like his other Robot Wars. Right. Yeah, we know the oil is very lacking at the moment. Tell us about that. Oh, there goes the front bumper. So yeah, I think the sheer fact it's not particularly quick is what's going to make this car die from overheating more than anything. It's not really challenging the limits of the suspension or anything. There's the rod bearings. Come on. Well, it's taking a lot of punishment, but it's not really able to go all that quick, and the engine is broken anyway. So yeah, not a particularly you know, hardy engine. It's not really one that can survive all that much, but the rest of the car seems to have held up rather nicely. I think one of the wheels was on the verge of going though, by the looks of things. Yeah, that front right wheel there is quite the way back, so if it hadn't died from overheating, it would have probably died from losing one of the wheels and then not being able to really move all that well. So yeah, but still an impressive run there, but yeah, sadly the engine is what gave out too quickly there. Right, let's get to the rollover part and yeah, see if it can survive 3 consecutive rollovers and still move, while also being rather safe for the people inside. Not expecting great a deal from this in terms of safety, because obviously it's quite an old car, and obviously some old cars are safe, but this is an old car from a country that didn't have the best, you know, car industry and going for it in the first place. So yeah, nonetheless, let's reset it and get going. see how much punishment this can take. Oh, well, bent a wheel already, that's not a good sign. In fact, that's the same that's the same wheel I think that was bending in the suspension area. Maybe that's a weak point, who knows, we'll have to see. Well, the rear hatch has opened up. And self-righted again. One thing I do like about this car is that the bit that covers up what's in the boot, the parcel shelf as it's called, does move around. It's not moving around right now because it's stuck in the boot. Let's have a just see if we can move it out. But yeah, it does have its own physics, which I really rather enjoy. I know it's not the biggest deal in the world, but the fact that it moves around all on its own is, I don't think, something we've seen in another car. So it's always nice to see some kind of innovation in other mods. Right, let's see if we can survive a second go. I'd say the roof did hold up really rather nicely in the first rollover. Let's see if we can survive this time. It's definitely taken more damage. It doesn't seem to have been fatal. Nope, everything seems to have survived. The roof has come down a little bit, but it's not come all the way down. We are juddering a fair old bit, and I'm pretty sure it's probably making horrendous noises right now, but I kept my volume down in case those tyres made the noise I warned about earlier. Right, let's see if we can survive one more go. It's put up a fair decent fight so far, to be honest. Sure, stuff has bent and broken and stuff, but quite frankly, it's, considering how bent up that wheel got in the first rollover, I was expecting it to have broken by now. So we've lost a hubcap. Oh, there goes a bumper. Yeah, this has put up a great fight, to be honest. There goes the exhaust, really important. Yeah, that has surprisingly survived. I was expecting it to, you know, fold up like a piece of paper, to be honest, but yeah, it still drives, just about. To be honest, it doesn't even pull in terms of steering. I am completely flooring it. I'm not touching the steering at all. Despite the way that the wheels are, it's not pulling to the left or the right or anything. And the rest of the car seems to have survived nicely in terms of passenger safety, so yeah, that is a resounding pass. It doesn't look pretty or anything, but it's definitely passed. So yeah, I'm going to say 1 out of 2 so far, because I think the engine gave up a fair bit too quickly in the suspension area. But yeah, still 1 out of 2 isn't bad so far. So let's hit these explosive barrels at 60 miles an hour, if we'll get there, and yeah, see how it deals with a pair of explosions. Yeah, we're not going to make it to 60, but close enough. Oh, well, that's damaging. We've lost the door. The driver door is about to come off as well. Depends where we land though. Land on the front or the back, or the roof. On the front. Oh, well, there goes the driver's door. I'm going to land on the roof now. Again, that roof is really rather quite strong. I am surprised. Turn the engine off just to see if it will still move when we roll it back over. So yeah, it's obviously taken a fair old whack there. But it still drives, surprisingly. Certainly does pull a bit more than it did in the rollover test, but yeah, still survives in terms of driving. And I think in terms of crash safety, well, yes, it's lost the doors, but the steering wheel really hasn't moved all that much. Yeah, the whole floor is crumpled and everything, but the roof is still intact. The steering wheel isn't where the driver is, and yeah, with seat belts on, you might well have survived that. So yeah, I'm going to call that a pass. Right, so let's see if we can get a bit more of a run up for the cinder block wall. We weren't quite at 60 miles an hour with the explosive barrels. See if we can hit it at 60. Hopefully we'll manage 60 in the crash hole as well. Right, will it survive this? Yes, it has. Taken damage again, but the important parts have survived. Namely the fact that, you know, the roof hasn't caved in, the windscreen hasn't caved through. Yeah, the wheels are quite splayed out now, but still drives and stops. So it's, yeah, that's another pass. So 3 out of 4 is not bad at all. So let's get to the crash hole and see if this can deal with 30, 40 and 60 mile an hour small overlap crashes. Right, so here we are at the crash hole. No idea what this is going to do, because obviously at the grid map it was surviving quite a lot. Didn't see much damage to the roof or in terms of the movability of the steering wheel. So this could go either way, but I have tried it and it does get up to 60 miles an hour before it hit the wall, so we've got no problem with speed. But yeah, aged design from a country that wasn't well known for making safe cars does, yeah, make me think that this isn't going to do particularly well. But you never know, we have been surprised before, and I'm sure this will at least survive 30. Drives really rather nice and straight in a straight line. There's no real pull either way or wandering from the car. That's a good sign. Yep, that's fine. Taking a fair old bit of damage, but you'd survive that. No doubt about that. And the car still drives, even though it's pulling a little bit to the left there, but yeah, that seems perfectly fine. Obviously the dashboard has moved a bit, but that's just because these kind of cars are made out of cheap plastic on their interiors, so that's no surprise. So yeah, let's see what happens at 40. See if this lightweight hatchback can deal with this. Surprisingly so. To be honest, there's not much difference between 30 and 40 there. I think the roof is slightly bowing in the middle there, but not by a huge amount. Certainly not enough to compromise the car. Obviously it's taken a bit more damage in terms of the mechanicals. The wheels aren't turning as well, and one of them is actually obviously damaged, and yeah, the whole rack has moved over to the left. But in terms of safety, yeah, that's fine. Interior doesn't even look any real different either, so yeah, I'm overall surprised by this. So let's see if it can survive the middle 60 mile an hour impact. As ever before, most cars have not survived this, so let's see if this does. To be honest, I'm not sure that's entirely on centre, but either way, that is, yeah, a marked difference in damage over the previous two crashes. I think we'll try it one more time just to be sure, because I have been slightly off beforehand and there has been a difference in the crashability of the car. I only want to ever be fair. Get it on that line. As much as possible, that is. Yeah, that's not a safe car in that at that speed by any means. That's quite bad. Not the worst that we've seen by any means. I've seen cars with their steering wheel in the driver's, headrest or right through the back of the seat. So yeah, it's not the worst that we've seen, but it's still a fail regardless. It's not really driving all that well anymore as well, because those wheels aren't really touching the ground, or at least the left wheel isn't. And yeah, dashboard, steering wheel and everything's been smashed to smithereens. The wheel is in the footwell. Yeah, not a pass there, but like I said, I have seen far worse from, newer cars than this. So yeah, nonetheless, let's get out onto the highway, see how this deals with head-on collisions at 60 miles an hour with two similarly sized and similarly weighted vehicles, and then one that really isn't. Right, so here we are at the highway, so we're going to go up against the Covert first. Granted, it is 220 pounds lighter than this, but that is a newer car, newer kind of design, but then again, this is a bigger car, so I think overall it's going to even out somewhat. So yeah, let's just pause it, get these cars to their right speeds, and let's go. No idea if the Covert is going to survive this or not, but it's all about the FSP here, so let's see if it can. Obviously, like I said, it is the bigger car, it is the heavier of the two, but that does not necessarily mean that it's going to be the best of the two. Yeah, that roof has gone up and down at the same time on the FSP there, or FPS even, sorry. The Covert has obviously taken a fair bit of damage, but overall it seems to have dealt with that okay. I'd say the FPS has dealt with that okay as well, to be honest, if we're, being fair at the end of the day. So let's get it into the light a little bit. Yeah, I'd say that's fine. Obviously, any more speed or any more weight going up against this, and it would have been far more disastrous, because you can see that the roof is starting to go up and down. But the doors have held shut, the steering wheel hasn't really moved, in fact the dashboard hasn't really moved all that much either, so yeah, I'm going to call that a pass. But yeah, and then like always, I think I've said this before, but yeah, most cars would not survive 60 mile an hour head-on impact with any other car, no matter what, kind of age or size, or how safe it actually is in terms of systems, but is interesting to see nonetheless. So yeah, let's find another similarly weighted vehicle. How much does a Hirochi weigh? Fair bit more than us, unfortunately. Yeah, a lot of the mods don't really line up with the weight of mini cars on this game. It's a bit of a shame. How much does a Saga weigh? Again, fair bit more than us, unfortunately. I'm fine if it's a couple £100 more, because obviously we dealt with the Covert, which is a couple £100 less. But I don't want something that's, substantially heavier. Yeah, this will do. Yeah, we'll go for the Type L 200BX. It's £250 or thereabouts, heavier than us, so pretty much the same as the Covert, to be honest. But again, like the Covert, it is newer. This is about the same size as the FPS as well, so going to be interesting, especially since this is now the lighter of the two cars that are crashing. Right, to certain death we go. What's it gonna be? 90s coupe or 80s hatchback? Well, definitely 90s coupe out of the two of them. It's definitely taken more damage here than it did with the Covert, by the fact that the doors especially on the driver's side, are not in a good position anymore. As you can see, it looks like it's about to come off. But they have actually stayed on, so there is that. And yeah, but the dash and the steering wheel have definitely moved a fair bit more. The steering wheel is up and to the right. Like I said, you can see the door there is on the verge of coming off. And yeah, the roof has taken more damage, and yeah, the seat has also bowed into the floor. So yeah, I'm going to call that a fail, to be honest, because yeah, the seat has definitely moved down, which is not a good thing. And you see the chassis is also bent as well. Yeah, I'm going to call that a fail just because there's been a lot more interior damage than there was in the previous crash. So yeah, that's why. Right, let's see what happens when we put it up against a vehicle that is substantially heavier, substantially larger, and yeah, certainly not the kind of vehicle you want to be going up against in a crash. Right, the Roma Sheriff is £5,236. That's more than twice the weight of us, and it's also got higher ground clearance, so this should be interesting. To death we go. Pretty much got up to 60. There we go, we touched it then. Yeah, the higher riding Roma there has overtopped any kind of safety systems in this. Roma's taken barely any damage, whereas the FPS there has shot up into the air on its rear, forced backwards. And yeah, that's death. No doubt about that. But as you can see, the mod holds up really rather well, even though it's been completely smashed like that. Obviously there's some spikage, especially in terms of the interior, but in terms of what happens on the outside, which is where it really matters, it's not just a mod that's held up well, but yeah, it's quite stable in crashing into standard cars on the game as well. But yeah, the car itself, in terms of safety, has not held up whatsoever. That is completely devastating. The doors have come away. One of them has actually come off. We've lost the driver's door completely. And yeah, the steering wheel has come down and forwards. The roof has peeled upwards. Even the rear doors have taken a fair old whack as well. So yeah, that's a fail on that front. But to be honest, this has done really rather well. 1 out of 3 here, 2 out of 3 on the crash haul, and 3 out of 4 out on the grid map. So yeah, 6 out of 10 for a car that I expected to be absolutely awful in terms of crashability. Has done really rather nicely. So yeah, well worth downloading this mod. It's on the main website on BeamNG mods, and yeah, it's a real fun one to try out as well. And yeah, it's nice to see something like this on the game. Nonetheless, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.